First up at 6:30 and all new tonight, a True Crime Arizona exclusive on the case the sheriff calls one of the most tragic and bizarre he has ever seen. The murder of a pastor in his home in New River, and the confessed killer admits it was part of a twisted religious hit list plot.
I spent some time with Pastor Bill Schonemann's friends and family up in Montana, where they are trying to come to grips with his loss and at the same time keeping his memory alive through the passion projects he was working on. I guess you guys were just down in Texas together a couple months ago. Was that the last time you were together?
Yeah, the first of the year, over the New Year's.
Randy Schonemann was supposed to spend the year working with his father, Bill, restoring another World War II airplane in Texas for its new home at the Museum of Mountain Flying in Montana.
We got to work on that airplane together. That was the last time we were actually physically together.
As Randy grew up in the valley, his father Bill ran a car shop in South Phoenix. He became Pastor Bill after Randy graduated.
Was it strange to hear him, give a sermon?
He didn't preach sermons to be as a preachy kind of deal. It was always a mentorship, and that's the same way that he raised me, was going through things, learning things, teaching me things. It was always a mentorship.
This spring, while making plans to meet up to fly the Miss Montana, another war airplane they'd restored together, Randy got the call from detectives in Arizona. A killer chose his father Bill at random to be one of the pastors on his religious hit list, leaving him murdered and crucified in his home.
I thought, hearing that he was a pastor, it must have been somebody he'd taken into his house who was struggling, who he brought in, and things went wrong. It was a robbery or something like that. I never could have imagined what actually happened.
It's definitely a shock to hear how this did go.
Well, it's also shocking to hear that someone would be targeted for their faith.
Yeah, there's crazy people everywhere, I guess. That's where it kind of comes back to, is why somebody targets anybody. I don't know that somebody's faith is any worse than somebody's color, as far as making them a target. They both are crappy, right? Both are horrible reasons to go after somebody.
Did you think twice about watching that interview with him? Or did you want to see who did this?
No, I want to understand as much as I can. I think we'll never understand completely why, but I do want to try to understand.
Are you concerned at all that he's getting too much notoriety?
Yeah, if you look at all the interviews he's done, he seems to be enjoying it. We were shocked when they did the first interview that all inmates have access to iPads. That was something that was pretty surprising. Yeah, that certainly gives us some concerns on how he might be influencing other crazy people.
He said that he wants the death penalty and swiftly.
Generally speaking, I am in favor of the death penalty for cases. So I look at that and think, do we want to deal with all those appeals between now and then? Or just go life in prison and then we don't have to worry about it? And I don't know the right answer. I'm glad that I don't have to make that answer. I'm glad that that's in the jury's hands to make those choices.
If this does go to a jury or trial, would you go to it, or is it not something you want to have to relive?
Oh, we'll absolutely be there, yeah.
This is going to be hard.
Bill's friends at the museum are channeling his guidance as they try to cope.
That's what I think of. What would Bill want? And he wouldn't want revenge. He wouldn't want vengeance. He wouldn't want hate. And I can guarantee you he's glad it was him and not someone else, without question.
And I think the best way we can honor Bill at our museum is to continue the work that he started and to help mentor kids and help produce more mechanics and pilots and keep our airplanes flying.
Bill's son will continue restoring this bomber in his father's memory, relying on his mentorship in mechanics and in life.
As this moves into the criminal phase, the trial phase, or the court phase, what do you hope people keep in mind or not lose sight of?
Oh, I'd say the biggest thing is don't let the hatred and anger eat you. A lot of things Dad did, this is an hour sliver of his 76 years of his life, and he wouldn't want us to be in that sorrowful pit.
Yeah, they say he did so many good things during his 76 years, including serving in the Navy, deploying to Vietnam, that they're focusing as much as possible on the way he lived rather than the horrible way he died. This whole thing was very Montana. These are the nicest people.
Well, and it was great that they kind of opened up and were willing to share a little bit more of his backstory so we could learn more about him. He had such a Bill had such a following here in the Valley, a congregation that truly loved him. Have they been able to come down here, spend much time? Is there any opportunity that brings them some comfort talking to the people who knew him down here?
In fact, before they even made the arrest in early May, they spent some time down here while detectives were still searching for this person, this confessed killer, and they said what brought them great comfort is they went around to his father's daily routine, the stores he'd go to, visited the people he'd see on a daily basis, talked to them, shared stories. They said that brought them great comfort at a horrible time and was very therapeutic.
Yeah, and just to hear the piece that he's saying, I want to understand, and looking at it with an open heart, and the way that his father did, and also his friends looking at it in that way. It's a very
thoughtful and remarkable.
Very
I think. I don't think
thoughtful.
everybody. I don't think I would feel the same way, but they're very analytical and very thoughtful about the whole thing.
Yeah,
So,
it's great to learn more about his story. Sounds like a
great guy.
remarkable man.
Yep.